Nobody warns you that success can make restlessness worse. It does not announce itself when it arrives. It accumulates quietly until it becomes something you only notice years later. The feeling shows up years later, standing in a perfectly organized space, staring at things you once thought would make you happy, and by then, the cause is already hard to see. To understand it, you have to go back to a freezing garage, back to when you had almost nothing, back to when you felt more alive than you do now. You are 23 years old. The garage is freezing. It is November. The single bulb overhead casts everything in a pale yellow that turns the oil stains on the concrete almost amber, and you have been out here since 8 o'clock while it is now past midnight. Your knuckles are split where the wrench slipped. The carburetor is still clogged. The motorcycle still will not start. You have $40 in your checking account. The YouTube tutorial stopped playing several minutes ago. You do not notice. You are staring at the engine like it might eventually explain itself. You are frustrated, exhausted, cold, yet you stay. At some point, the problem stops being the motorcycle. The motorcycle becomes a test, not of intelligence, not of mechanical skill, something else entirely. How long can you stay with something that refuses to cooperate? How long before you leave the fight? At 12:15 a.m., the engine finally turns over. You do not celebrate. You do not move. You just listen. The idle fills the garage. Something settles inside your chest. You do not know it yet. That moment will matter more than the machine. 11 years later, something feels off. You have the house, the income, the stability, the 3-car garage. One side holds a new Range Rover. The other side holds nothing except 3 plastic bins of old tools. You walk past them often. Sometimes you slow down. Sometimes you do not. At first, nothing feels wrong. Life is better in every measurable way. You do not spend weekends fixing broken machines. You do not troubleshoot appliances. You do not diagnose strange sounds in the night. You pay for that work now. It is faster. It is cleaner. And it works. But something changes on quiet Sundays. The kids are asleep. The house is still. Nothing is asking for you. You should feel calm. Instead, you feel restless. Not loud, just present. You check your phone. Put it down. Walk into the garage. Look at the bins. Walk back inside. You call it boredom. It is not boredom. It is absence. Something you used to carry is missing. The answer hides inside a question. When was the last time you stayed with a problem longer than you needed to? Not because you were paid, not because you had to, but because there was no exit that made sense. Most people do not notice this shift. The brain learns from resistance. For years, reality pushed back. Dead engines, failed attempts, projects that refused to move forward. You adapted. It resisted. You adapted again. Repeat that enough times and something forms. Stay. Figure it out. Do not leave early. That lesson was never about machines. It was about who you became while dealing with them. This is where the story splits. One man keeps a project alive in the garage. An old pickup that never runs quite right. A motorcycle that always needs something. A workbench that never stays clean for long. Nothing polished, nothing finished. Always in progress. He does not treat it as a hobby. He treats it as contact with reality. The truck does not care who he is. It does not care what he earns. It either starts or it does not. Every weekend he returns to that truth. No shortcuts, no outsourcing. Over time, something shows up in him. Steady under pressure. Unimpressed by noise. Hard to shake. It comes from returning to challenges that demand something of him. Another man lets the projects disappear, not in one decision, in many small ones. The plumber handles the leak. The dealership handles the noise. The contractor handles the fence. The lawn crew handles the yard. Each choice makes sense alone. Together they change him. Later he starts filling the gap. A smoker, a road bike, a workshop table. Things tied to effort he is not entering. He tells himself he will get to them later. Later keeps moving. The objects stay, unused, waiting. By 45, both men look successful. Only one understands his restlessness. The other keeps trying to solve it. A bigger win, a new purchase, another goal. Nothing lands for long, because what he lost was never the objects. It was the version of himself that showed up under pressure. The one who stayed. The one who worked through resistance. That version did not vanish at once. It faded. Slowly. Quietly. Without notice. One Sunday he stands alone in the garage, coffee in hand, cooling fast. The house is silent. The Range Rover is parked. The bike is untouched. The golf clubs are ready. The bins sit where they always have. He does nothing for a moment. Then a memory returns. Cold concrete. Split knuckles. A motorcycle that would not start. Midnight, $40. A full night ahead. He remembers the difficulty. Then something else appears. He misses it. Not the struggle. The contact. Progress earned step by step. Attention fully locked in. His hands as proof of effort. In that quiet, he understands. It was never about wanting more. It was about needing something that pushes back. The second life felt like progress. It was, until it stopped building anything inside him. The garage stayed the same. He did not. The question is whether he notices in time to change direction. And maybe that is the real question. Not success, not comfort, but whether anything in your life still pushes back. Something that demands effort. Something that does not yield easily. Something that keeps you sharp. I want to know what that is for you. What was the last problem that forced you to stay longer than you planned? Leave it in the comments. I read more of them than you think.